Yep, go ahead.
All right, so hi everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another special franchise hockey manager stream. My name is Adam. I'm the community manager of franchise hockey. With me, as always, not pictured on your screen, is every time producer Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back to talk more about franchise hockey manager 11, which again, as we just announced, if you were unsure, is coming out October 25th, 2024, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or thereabouts. The game will be out on Steam, and we are excited to share it with you. I guess, Jeff, one other thing we should probably talk about right away because there's been several questions about it. Um, Price of the game.
Yeah, just going to get to that. You mentioned, I think, last week that we were probably looking at a price increase because God knows everything else in the world has gone up in price lately, and we've had the same price going since 2013, 2014 now, at 39.99. So the game is going to be 44.99 US with a 10% discount for the first week for the release week, and then usual periodic discounts and sales after that. That's actually a little bit more than we wanted to price it at. What we had settled on was $43.99, $1 cheaper. But for some stupid reason, Steam won't let you choose $43.99 as a pricing option. They do $5 increments once you get above a certain level. Not sure why that is, but we are kind of stuck with it. So it would have been a little cheaper if we had our way, and it is still cheaper than Out of the Park went up to $49.99 this year. So we're only doing half of that. It's $44.99,
It's a
and
reasonable increase over 10 years' time.
yeah,
Over 10 years'
and
time.
my groceries have gone up more than what is that? About 10% in 10 years. Okay, so that aside, yes. So just to reiterate, if anybody's coming in late, game releases for sure on October 25th, this Friday, 5 a.m. Pacific time, made in 8 Eastern, 2 o'clock Central European time, I think it is, and $44.99 with a 10% release discount. And if you're buying on Steam, you can also get I think there's an additional discount if you're uh, packaging it in a bundle with Out of the Park Baseball. And that should be, those bundles should be available right at the start. We've slipped on that a couple of times in previous years, but I think we're on top of it this time. We kind of depend on the Out of the Park guys to do the final approval on time, so we'll get after them to get that done so it's there right away at the start this time. I think that's all the release detail. Yeah, I mean if you watched last week, I was talking about what the holdup on announcing the official release date was. We were waiting for a Steam approval on the store page, and they were holding it up for a stupid little technical reason. Just something that they disagreed with the way one of our logo looked on the graphics. But while I was complaining about that last week, they approved it right while that was happening. I went back and checked the timestamp when we got offline, and I noticed it was suddenly approved. So don't know if
I
they were
just
listening
like
to
to
me,
think
but they
they were
got that.
watching us.
Yeah, sure they were.
And they were like, "Oh, oops, let's get
And
that
I'm
fixed."
sure Gabe Newell obsessively watches the FHM channel. But yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it.
whatever happened, it's done and it's all approved, and there was no pushback on the release date being. Technically, you're supposed to do the release 25 or 2 weeks, I think 14 days, no later or no earlier than 14 days after the store opens. But we had already set the release date in before this silly delay with the release date with the store approval happened. So apparently that makes it fine, and we'll be able to go on Friday. Now watch me click the button on Friday and get some sort of an error message, but in which case we will
Don't
be
say that.
panicking and
Don't say that.
desperately trying to get in touch with our Steam contact. But that's not going to happen. It's going to be fine. It'll be fine. So what we're going to do tonight is, since I've got the game is live here, that's the actual FHM 11, not just a screenshot. And I've got a couple of games set up so we can look around in those. I've got, I think, a standard game just to show off a few new things, and international or a custom game with an international league set up in it, and go through that a little bit, and a historical game with the AHL, which I think Adam will like the year I picked for that. The So yeah, I should say that this is a still obviously a beta build. There's probably going to be a little weird stuff in it because we're working right up to the deadline, doing new builds. We've had a new one I think every day this week, uh, fixing various stuff and getting some stuff added last minute. And actually more about that in a second. Sebastian made some fairly significant additions today. So this is a new build. It's only been live for a little over 4 hours, so hopefully nothing weird is showing up. What I did is just take an unemployed game and I played it up to, this is a standard start, and played it up to today's date in the game. Standings are looking quite a bit different than the way they have started in real life. The Jets not off to as nearly as impressive start, 1-5 instead of
How dare
6-0. And the
How
Oilers are
dare
not struggling. The Flames aren't undefeated either.
Hurtful.
No, not sure when. Then you see the starting injuries and everything are in there. I think the Canucks look on their injury list. Yeah, Demko, 2 or 3 months is just guesswork. Myers with that's an in-game injury. Wonder where that was coming from. And I think I tuned that date down a bit on Joshua. I don't know if they put the new version of the presets file in. That's because he's supposed to be back relatively soon for them in real life. Z Bartel, Hellbuck does not need an upgrade because I was going to show you guys just a little preview of the what the ratings look like this year, and I've actually got him above Shesterkin in the goalie rankings, just barely, but that's the top 10 for the goalies. I'm not sure how Wall wound up so hard because I don't have him that highly. He's got off to a really hot start there. Typical Leafs fan overhyping him. It's probably pushing his reputation up, but no, I don't think his actual rating is that high in the game. But for some reason, the rankings are putting him there. But yeah, I mean, it's not wildly changed from where it was last year, and the doing the rankings by team strength. Oilers at the top, not surprisingly. Rangers second. Unbelievable. And I've got the Jets above the Canucks, so I'm not biased there. The Canucks are only in ninth. And down at the bottom, San Jose, which, no surprise to anybody, I guess, as they're not doing well in this game, nor are they off to, I think they're basically the same start as they've got in real life, isn't it? Or have they won
I
a game
didn't
yet?
realize San Jose's goalies are New Jersey's goalies from last year. Like, literally the same goalies.
Yep, Blackwood and Vanchek. Probably the best part of the team, actually.
I don't know. Their
Yeah.
young guys are pretty good.
What I was going to say is the new things that got added today. I'll show you a few new things in this game, but one of the things that whoops, wrong screen, sorry. Just went in today. We've ignored the fact that trading is frozen on me here. Was just a screw up when Sebastian made it. And another change today. That's going to get fixed tomorrow. You will be able to change that in the actual game. When you're,
You probably should have something flying over the screen that says beta build, beta build, beta build.
Yeah. We've split setting lineups and setting tactics. That used to be one combined setting, so you could have where you had to have both on AI or both controlled yourselves. Now you can split that. You can have the AI choose the lineup, and you just decide what tactics get used, or you can have the AI deciding the tactics, and you can set the lineup independent of that. So they're not combined anymore. The other thing, and I think this will be a very popular move, is that when you're playing in GM only mode, which I'm not doing here, I'm unemployed, but if I took over a team as GM only, you'll now be able to set the lineups and training and tactics yourself, even as GM only. And before it was locked to the coach having to always made those decisions for you. So you're not obliged to do it that way anymore. You can turn on GM only mode and still choose the lineups yourself. Okay, let's see what else have we got new here. A couple of new reports. demographics report. Just basically a breakdown around the league of where the players are coming from, what cities are most common. Yeah, it looks about right. Karlstad, Sweden. Surprising, 7 players.
Interesting.
And then state province breakdown. 10 players from California in the league now. And 9 from Florida. That's going by birthplaces too, by the way. BC is second. Oh, we passed Quebec. And then, but
I said, well, no, that California has lots of guys who, were there and then moved on since. Or grew up somewhere else. So.
No, it's a lot of like actual guys coming out of the California youth teams now. I think that they're mostly locally produced. I can't think of anybody that's moved to a different state. But they're generally there until they're about 15 or so, and then they go on to USHL or NAHL or occasionally the Canadian Hockey Academy stuff in BC or Alberta. Okay, and then the other screen I'm showing here is just the individual team stats. Bruins are the heaviest team in the league and the tallest. And Colorado is the smallest, although actually that's quite a big spread, 14 or 15 pound difference between Colorado and Boston. And a couple inches of height too. Buffalo, youngest team in the league. Edmonton, the oldest, and couldn't figure out a way to put the, I don't know, maybe I should, I guess, no, again, well, should maybe add an option to show, just switch it to the youngest player view so you can see those as well. But oldest man in the league now, is that Fleury? Yeah, it's Fleury.
Right now, with the unsigned guys, yeah, I believe it is him.
Yeah. And heights all look correct. Yeah, that's good. That should be fairly up to date. I'm not sure how often Elite Prospects updates their height and weight numbers, but that should be okay. That's it. Prospect rankings, that's old, but yeah, not surprisingly, Celebrini number 1, Demidov number 2, Michkov number 3 amongst forwards, Levshunov at 3. And yeah, goalies look about right, those 5 guys. Wolf still technically a prospect until he plays enough games. I know that Lane Hudson is fairly far down on the prospect list, but he actually tends to do really well in the first season in the game. He was, I think, Rookie of the Year in the last test sim I did. Brazil Martel, how's Lambert look? Brad Lambert?
Yeah. At least I'm assuming because he's talking about Jets before, so.
Yep. So on the, it looks like he's got sent down to the Moose. Don't think I made any major changes to his ratings yet. I probably could upgrade him a little bit, but something for the update. And the other report, this is going to be going off of the old data, not obviously in-game data, but the draft report. Biggest bus, so this is just looking at active players who are still active. And I probably should retire Puck because I think he's retired in real life, but he's still showing up as a number 1 as the biggest bust because Capitals spent a 14th overall pick on him. Did he ever play in the league? He did not.
I was going to say, I don't think he did.
And Askarov technically showing as a bust now because he was 11th overall and still isn't in the league. 4 years later, I may need to tune that a little bit. He shouldn't be that high. But it's a nice thing to have, particularly when you get into a my favorite Canuck, Ollie Levy, is in there. But I think we've got You're putting young guys in a little too early on this. I'll tweak that tomorrow, maybe. The But yeah, it's nice to get once you're a few years into the game. You can look this stuff up and see how the drafts have been going and see what terrible choices you made in the draft. And then conversely, biggest sleepers, Strawman at 216th overall. And I mean, he's obviously out of the league now, but had a pretty good NHL career. It's based on the whole NHL career, not necessarily how the guys are doing right now. So from 216th overall to how many games did he play? 938 NHL games. Pretty solid pick. And Jared Spurgeon and the Band brother. Oh, no, not
So,
Jordy, just Jimmy.
Jeff,
Okay.
when you're talking about that and talking about, draft picks and whatnot, I think, talking about some of the work you've done for the draft classes could make this more interesting too.
Yeah. Oh, we have the draft preview. Not sure if we changed something there. Yeah, we're actually unfortunately a little too early in the season to be getting the scouting list. So I can just look at the futures list and sort by potential. So you get the upcoming draft, and you can see there. Hagens is I think consensus number one. Martone Mesa after that. So it's about an average quality draft this year. I don't think particularly strong or weak. But what I was referring to is we've been doing a lot of work over the last little while. We had it was sort of a creeping problem. It was getting a little worse every year, where the young prospect there were too many good young NHL caliber prospects beyond just the ones that were getting selected in the draft. So if you watched our Penguin stream last year, we were doing a lot of signing guys coming out of junior, usually an overage season, unsigned, and we were able to pick up a bunch of players that way who actually were able to play in the NHL right away. Shouldn't be able to do that this year. We've toned that down a whole bunch. I think I've got to go a little bit farther on it based on the most recent numbers that we're seeing, but generally it's a much more even flow of prospects. So the early draft classes will look like the last couple of real life draft classes as well, so that the talent won't be all over the place like it was before. And we also had a problem where particularly the guys in the drafts 3 and 4 years out, those drafts tended to be really weak because it's in that gap between when we had real players in the database filling out the draft and when the game generated guys start to take over they're generated, and the first group of them is generated on July 1st 2025 as 13-year-olds generally, so it's 2012 birth date, so it's the 2030 NHL draft, which is when they show up. But if in previous years, the couple of years before that draft had been way too weak, just because it's hard to get information on those guys. So what I've done is pulled together whatever information I could get on we're talking about kids who are like 13, 14 years old now, and made a fairly best guess as to potentials and try to get a spread that mirrored the quality of the other draft classes as well as possible. Like if I go in, you can see if I filter this for 14-year-olds. Oops. Before, that would have been a pretty empty list. You would have had maybe one 4-star guy, but now you can see these are the guys that are going to be showing up in the 2029 draft, 2028 or 2029 draft. No, 2028, because they're 14-year-olds now, and 4 years from now, I think.
So if you wanted to start scouting some guys, you hypothetically could.
Yeah, so they're in there. looks like a couple of these guys might be game generated. I reckon. Not sure how you pronounce his name. That's supposed. This yeah, that's right. I think this is actually a slightly weaker draft because there's some late guys in the previous year that are from the 2011 birth year, but wound up getting pushed into the next draft because their birth date is after September 15th. But Liam Pugh, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, is one of the better real life prospects for that draft. And I see a few others, Cargelati.
One thing is, we are talking about something that's 4 years away, and a
Yeah,
lot of guys develop differently in 4 years.
these are kids. Yeah, I mean, right now, you can do the 13-year-olds as well, and you can see it's a similar picture. Uh, I think, well, according to one guy, according to one guy on HF boards, and a couple other people are agreeing with him, but Tyson Orr is the big prospect for that year. He's playing in, I think, Toronto right now, so he will be in the OHL draft in a couple of years, and that's another thing. When you're starting in the OHL or the WHL, you won't have that bad draft to begin with. You'll have enough real prospects at the start of the game to have decent drafts. And I keep sitting as you can see, I've added a few guys that are even. Oh, whoops! I should probably be able to. I
Can't go
can't
lower.
check the. I can't set the maximum age lower than 13. I'll see if we can get that changed. But if I do that, yeah, you can see you got some 12-year-olds in there. And wait, did I?
All good. We have
Sorry.
all good.
Real guy, and apparently all good. But the youngest guy in the game right now. Oh, actually, that shouldn't be showing up. That's Van Meter is a kid that the I think he passed away and was a fan of the USHL team that drafted him. He is set to retire in the game, but I think I've got that. Where's the retired? Yeah, I've got all players turned on. So if I said to active players, he doesn't show up.
Well, again, Eric the ref asking about. He just said that's so much talent. Just because guys have potential doesn't mean they're going to turn out.
Yeah. And
so that's where your scouting comes
I
in.
got to check what's going on with that. Although, or actually, maybe that isn't the with the changes I made in the database. There was a couple of issues with the with some of the youth teams that were forcing age changes. So I think that may not be in this build. Yeah, I got to ask Molten Sebastian about that tomorrow. But
Z Bartle asks, is there any way to show addition of exceptional status?
You'll get an announcement. It's a rare enough thing that it'll be announced fairly prominently. You'll know when it's happening. I was just going to say the youngest guy, and I added a 2014 born guy this year, so it's actually the first active player added to the database that was born after the games database was originally created back in 2013.
You feeling old yet?
Yeah, he's. I can't remember the name offhand. He's playing in Toronto. Was the MVP in the brick tournament this past. When was that, summer?
You say the brick tournament?
Yeah. Okay, so that is. I think I think everything I wanted to show with that particular save. Canucks. Anything else new here that you can? Am I missing anything, Adam? Don't think so. Obviously, oh yeah.
Anything else to add?
The one obviously new thing in NHL this year, Utah is in there, and as if you haven't been following us, the Utah Hockey Club is not technically a continuation of the Arizona/Winnipeg franchise. That's what the league is saying. We got to go along with it. So, the Arizona franchise is still exists in the database. But it's not active. That history is suspended,
Jeff,
like the way the Cleveland Barons would be. And if I look on the Utah screen, you see it starts completely empty, as the real Utah Hockey Club or whatever they wind up naming themselves eventually is if you look at the real NHL records. So technically, it's a brand new franchise.
I'm just saying a question probably someone would be wondering though is if you expand to Arizona, would you suddenly get their history?
No, that would be a separate franchise entirely, and there's no way to reactivate. Which maybe see if that would be possible, but there's no way to do it now to reactivate a team that's set to inactive in the game right now, because that would get a
There we
little
go.
bit messy in some cases. The way the inactive teams are handled in the data, I'd have to clean that up a bit. I think.
So Cleveland Barons 2.0 need a little bit more time,
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
I can do if I do it this way, if I go into the league history and look at last season, and you can see I can still bring up the Arizona history. Oh, it didn't
Yeah,
generate. I think it's not generating leaders because the franchise is inactive. But
which is fair.
you can see it's history ends at 2023-24. The year just gets there, gets added automatically when I'm looking at it in this view. That doesn't mean they're playing this year, but yeah, no franchise there anymore. So let's move back to the start screen, and I will show you that custom game. Unless there's anything else you wanted to look at there, Adam.
The only other thing that would be nice, but we're not at a game where we could, would be looking at the new development screen. But I think the pictures kind of
Oh,
do that.
actually, oh, I didn't. Yeah, I'm not controlling a team, so it won't have been
Yeah,
recording it. Sorry, I didn't think of that. I should have set this up so I was
yeah.
in control.
Oh,
I think I've got another one where
you're
I'll be
only
able
in
to see.
2024 or
I
in
think I'll be
October,
able
so
to
you're not
show
going to
some of
see a huge
the
amount.
see some of that in the historical game. That's that's controlling a team, but I want to show the international one first. So, oh,
All
and
right.
as I'm going to mention this again. I'm going to keep mentioning it because I know we're going to get questions on it. The default save location is no longer in your documents folder. It's going to
So actually, yeah.
save to your users folder. I'll point out. I'll probably stick you a post in the forum saying exactly where it is. But we did
Well,
that just
Jeff,
to get around the stupid thing with Windows forcing people to use or strongly
I mean,
encouraging people to use OneDrive for their documents folder, which was causing us no end of problems with game corruption when the game was trying to sync up with a live version or back up to it because it was in that documents folder. So it's out of the documents folder now. So don't look for it there.
no, I was going to say, do you want to show them how they can find it in game by going through their settings?
Yeah,
So really quick, not actually click on the button, but so if you go to
setups
your start
options.
screen,
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
yes. If you want to know where game files are,
Troubleshooting,
you go
and
to
if
your
you
settings,
click on the
troubleshooting.
open customizable data folder, if you click
Yeah.
on that,
That'll open a window immediately to where your FHM11 is
yeah,
installed and your save games are right there. So when you want to install mods, you can do that
I'm
very
not going to do it
quickly.
here because it'll pop up my Windows Explorer screen. That'll look ugly, but trust me, that's what it'll do. So what I've done here,
Yep.
this is getting this custom game. I've just set up a simple. So I want to show off the international stuff.
Okay. While you're doing that, one quick question from Smelly Wrestling Geek. He goes, "What
Yep,
if you import a save that has Arizona still in it from FHM10?"
it'll still continue as Arizona. You would have to edit it manually or you well, I guess to get the proper effect, you would have to deactivate them and then release all the players too, and then create a Utah franchise with it would start with no players. Don't do an expansion draft, and then just manually edit all the Arizona players. Yeah, probably you probably want to do that. Edit the Arizona players over to Utah, and then deactivate the Arizona team. That would be the way to handle that in an unimported save. If you want to get get it happening the way it does in real life, or you can just leave Arizona in there if you're in Phoenix and you want to keep your team. So this is the custom game. I just set up a one to show off the full international mode. So I just set up a league with or three separate leagues: one North American one, European one, and an Asia one, which I think mostly wound up being Japan and Korea because I used the Asian League country
Template.
settings. Yeah. So that's not all of Asia. But what this lets me do, and you see I've advanced the game to May 2nd, 2025, my 55th birthday actually. And the World Championship has just started the previous day, and you can see what the game has done is picked out for the first top level of the World Championship, picked out the 8 strongest international teams based on the player pools. So not really that surprising it's gone this way. So US and Canada are there, and then pretty much the major European power. Well, it's the big 6 countries, and Germany was sort of on 7th, and I guess Ukraine wound up in there over Switzerland or Slovakia, the other candidates at that level. And you can see they were all have full rosters, although Ukraine is a little weak in goal. It looks like I think that's a game created filler player, because he's got, he's just a free agent. He just isn't signed anywhere. So see, they're one of the weaker teams there. And there's also this second level Division 1 championship right below that. And because we've set up got this sort of weird country set up, it's done things to the player pool that kind of depart from reality. So Moldova's actually got a national team. And
Right.
you
haven't heard of the Moldova hockey team?
Yeah, which is good though, because it illustrates that if you've got a country in your game setup that has doesn't have a national team in real life, but if they've got enough players in the game, so if you start a league in Tahiti or Greenland or wherever, you've got enough players of that nationality, the game will try to put them in the international tournament if there's room for them, if they're good enough.
Is this answering what you're talking about? Assuming you're still here.
What was he asking?
He wanted to know about international tournaments. He asked a couple times. He says, is it only like World Championships, no Olympics, World Cup, or World Juniors?
No, right now, no World Juniors at the moment. I was a little leery of doing juniors off the bat because the way junior player pools can get set up. But I think we may try to sneak that in an update. We'll see. But the Olympics are in there. They'll be every 4 years, as in real life. No Olympic qualifiers yet. The way and that sort of dovetails into the next thing I want to talk about, or I should mention first, so you can see and there's no combined UK team in this one. It's England, Scotland, Wales get separate teams, and Northern Ireland. England's the 4 home countries get separate teams. The way the championship the international tournament setups work, it's determined on the fly each season who are the strongest teams. It'll evaluate the potential roster of each national team, and it will always pick the 8 strongest ones for the World Championship. So winning the Division 1 championship as a national team doesn't get you promotion to the next level for the next time out. It'll still depend on your player pool. May change that. It's just I'm a little hesitant to do it because it's unpredictable as to how the player pool can change from year to year. So I'm worried about a situation where a team gets promoted, but then they don't have enough players for the next season if you're really on the edge as far as a thin player pool goes. May change that.
Which
I can
makes
think
sense.
of a couple of ways around it. But yeah, just and then what else was I going to say about the international stuff? It's just knock out a week of it and see how the tournament goes. And get the playoffs done. And you can see the way this is timed. If I go to that's my North American League, their schedule is complete. I just had a final series, so it's ending earlier than normal. The timing of the World Championships will be keyed to the end of the seasons in the club leagues. It can technically overlap if you have one league going super late in the year, but generally it won't overlap, so the players will all be eligible for the World Championships, and it won't be like the NHL where you're only getting to send players from teams that miss the playoffs. And tournament completes, and looks like the Americans won.
Bosco asks, how many teams can be in a custom Olympics game? Are you limited to just the 8, or?
No, I think that's. I can't see it right now from the format, but I, I can check that, but I, the way I set it up, I think it was the standard current Olympic tournament setup. Yeah, there was no reason to depart from that. So or did I? Oh wait, maybe I toned it down in case the database was small. Can't remember offhand. I think what I did was set it up so there's a couple of different Olympic formats, a bigger one and a smaller one. I think that's the way it works. So you can get either depending on how fleshed out your player pool is for being able to provide national teams. But I think it's the big one. I think is bigger than the World Championships here. I think it's standard Olympic size or modern Olympic size. Don't Not 100% positive on that. It's been a while since I set that up. I gotta go back and check at some point. Uh, Anything else with this custom game that I can think of? And yeah, in tournament's over, so the players have been returned to their teams. And you can see I think no, we didn't do I thought we had the world ranking screen in there. I have to check on that. So you can see if you have a look at the team records, it's showing the Canada ranked 1, Ukraine 27. Oh no, I wonder if that's pulling that. I don't think it's doing that dynamically.
For a regular
that's
game.
Weird. Yeah. Sorry, what was that?
I said I just assumed it was pulling it from a regular game.
Yeah, I don't think that's doing it. Yeah, there's not 27 national teams in this, and Ukraine wouldn't be ranked 27 out of them and still be making it in this tournament. So I think that's it for international. I'll just show when you're creating a new custom game, the option is right there. It'll be off by default. People don't want it. We're not going to force them to play it, but just click that, and then you create your leagues normally, and it will do whatever it can. And again, those are the international tournaments are dynamic. If you've got a very small custom setup, you may not have enough to stage full tournaments. The first thing it'll get shut off is that Division One, the lower level of the World Championships. And if it absolutely has to, it'll cancel the World Championships as well. So you want to have a setup that has at least, has probably 4 teams worth at least of international players, other than outside of your main country. Okay, I think the historical thing. Oh, it's getting late already. I didn't realize it's 1:45. And I'm going to have a look at the American Hockey League circa 2007. And I think Adam knows what's teams coming here.
2007. Houston Aeros.
Oops, that's not good.
All right, question while that comes back.
Build, yeah, so.
Yeah, Z Bartel says, has there been any changes to the playoff formats?
Playoff formats. Oh, any additional playoff formats? No, we haven't really done any of that since we added the custom option. I hope I didn't break this save.
What do you mean by the custom option?
Letting you create whatever playoff format you want, basically number of teams and rounds, etc., etc.
Okay, there he goes.
And there we go. There's your. So yeah, beta build. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to check on why that happened, but I think I may have done something when I was setting this up that did that. But yeah, the game is fine, fortunately. And there you go, Adam. There's your 2007 Manitoba Moose.
Moose. You say that, but you did it for yourself too. Don't
Well, it
Don't lie,
is.
Jeff.
Yeah, it's the Canucks farm
The
team. It's
Canucks.
not a great period in Canucks prospect history. Mason Raymond's there. Yeah, Corey Schneider too. The goaltending was okay, but and lately
Actually, it's
Bourdon.
more sad the people who are no longer with us on that team. Rick
Uh,
Rippon, Luke
oh yeah,
Bourdon.
Rick Rippon and Bourdon.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Uh, and a few guys, Yannick Hansen and Michael Grabner before the
It's
Canucks
half the time
dumped
when
him.
I'm playing historical games and I see a name and go, did they play for the Moose? I feel like they played for the Moose, and I go looking, oh yeah, they played for the Moose.
Yeah, but what you can see is I think it's actually mostly Canucks players sent down in this because I wasn't controlling the game manually, but you can see Joseph Pillay is contracted directly to the Moose. Oh, and so is Travis Ramsey. And they were, I think, Moose in real life that year. So you will get the guy when you start a game, a historical AHL game as a AHL team. You will get several of the guys who may not have been NHL contracted,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
were on the team that year will show up on your roster.
Although hmm, I guess, okay.
What are you going to say?
No, those contracts look a little high for those AHL guys there.
Ah, true. Yeah, that should be. I got to check the settings on that. I thought I toned them down.
Was off an old build.
No, the data should be new, and I thought I did that the other day. Maybe I didn't. Check that again.
Okay. Yeah, because they should be not making that much.
But I think since I was technically controlling the team, even if I was having the AI do everything, well, okay, there's development reports, but it's a 24-year-old guy and career minor leaguer, so he hasn't really developed in that last
How
little
about
while.
Schneider?
Oh, I think that's not showing up because he's Vancouver contracted. I think it has to be your players. LA.
Okay, that makes sense.
No, okay, you just haven't had any development to see yet. So the way this works, so I can show you here, you can switch between the ratings groups. And you've got the option to show just the last 12 months of development or the entire career, but it's only from the start of your game. So the career option here is obviously just a little blip. But you know, if you're 10 years down the road, you'll be able to track that kind of stuff for your players. Should mention it is limited to only the players that you own, because it would get really onerous on game performance if we were tracking the development of every single guy. You would have stupidly sized save games, and it would really slow things down. So it's just limited to players who
Okay.
are under control of a human owner.
So if you're an NHL GM or GM head coach,
Mm-hmm.
and you draft somebody and say you have them sitting in the European leagues, can you see their development report?
Should be able to, yes.
Okay.
I think it was definitely everybody who was contracted, and then so there was some question over whether or not we should do that to everybody who you own the rights to, and I think that, if I remember right, that got added 4 or 5 builds ago. It should be showing players you own the rights to. I can't look at it here, obviously, because there's Manitoba isn't going to have anybody they own the rights to who isn't contracted because they're an AHL team. But if I was well, yeah, I can't do it now. It would show up if I took over an NHL team now because there wouldn't be any development recorded yet. That isn't going to start until I actually have the team. But yeah, there's that feature now. So anything else we need to cover there? Just what the NHL looks like. It's end of the exhibition season or mid-exhibition season. I should point out that when you're playing as the AHL teams, the schedules and playoff systems are genericized at this point. Don't have the real schedules in yet. That's going to require some messy research because I'd like to get the whole set of them in or keep everything getting auto-generated. I don't really want to do partially complete real schedules. I'd like to get them all there. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. and the playoff systems are simplified. They're approximately what they were in real life, but the problem is we had some time constraints this summer, and setting up specialized playoff systems, custom playoff systems for leagues is kind of time consuming. So that's where we cut a corner. And I will see if we can, when we do have time, we'll try to get the real playoff systems from each year for the AHL into the game. But I think that covers the. Is there anything else I wanted to show? I'm probably forgetting something, but yeah, we're running late. We still haven't really taken many questions yet. So, anything you can think to add, Adam?
Off the top of my head, no. I mean, some of the stuff is just going to have to things
Yeah,
you experience in the game,
yeah,
and it's kind of hard to be like, "Hey, look at this." And we're really excited for you to get your hands on the game too. I mean,
yeah.
we're talking now, literally just what 40 hours from now, roughly. Not even that.
Good God. Don't scare me. Yeah, okay.
30
40,
hours,
40
35
hours, and
hours.
how many of that will I be sleeping? Not many.
Yeah, no, 30 hours,
30
Jeff.
hours. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, 30 hours. Yeah. 30 hours from the point of me saying this right
Sleep is for the weak.
now. So it's just one of those things where it's, yeah.
Yeah,
I
Zoom
mean,
Bartel, the legendary Buffett slug for 2007. Oh, I should mention something we got little we the that stupid bug where occasionally you get the face gen graphics only showing up the bottom left hand corner of them. Still happens. It seems to be rare. I'm getting it very infrequently this time. We still haven't been able to track down 100% of the cause, but so still there, unfortunately. But the other thing with the face gen graphics, the little black marks you were seeing around the neck, and particularly the most recent, like the last couple of sets of images of face gen jerseys we've added, which are the modern NHL ones, which are all updated for this season, of course. And then the NHA ones we added in historical last year, they were getting that black mark around the neck. Hockey 13 player, the guy who does those for us, figured out why that was happening. It was to do with the black background on the jersey images. So he's fixed that, and that little graphical glitch should be gone this year. I think it's still maybe in some of the historical jerseys, but the modern ones should be okay, and the NHA ones should be okay as well. So that's done. So we got a little time left, so you can take some
yeah.
questions, Adam. You can. I'm only watching the OTP channel. You've got the
I've been
FHM one. So
watching both. Joe Calculus just said, with seeing that as GM only, you can get some line modifications on your NHL team. Is that coming so that you can do that to your AHL club?
while you're controlling the NHL team,
Yeah.
not yet. It's a little complicated doing that for another team that you're not in direct control of, that you're not the actual GM of. There's some technical problems with doing that. We've looked at it, but it's going to be a really messy thing and time-consuming thing to fix. And I'm not sure how much of a demand there is for it. We'd like to. Yeah, I mean, it comes up fairly often, but just a balance of how much time it'll take for us to do it versus where it fits in terms of other priorities.
Yeah. And again, we've talked about it before. There is a master list of things where lots of ideas are down.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. And just things get moved up, things get moved down, how things work. Besides that, I'm just going to go flip back through here. Is there any changes to Team Harmony, Jeff?
Good question. We had some plan. We were actually what we were wanting to do was work on this section a little bit and have the player personalities have more of an effect. Harmony is pretty similar. The one thing that we did, we've made some changes to the job security system that we implemented an old design that had never got put in, and your job security here will be much more reflective of what is accurate now. And then we've got, I think Sebastian mentions he's added the job security bar in a couple of other places. I haven't looked at that yet. But yeah, no, team harmony is basically the same as it was last year. But still, we're definitely not done with that. There's more we want to do there. So we had some ideas, but they didn't quite make it in for this year, or at least the release version of this year.
Blues fan 67 says, any change to expansion things?
No, pretty much as it was. I think we were pretty complete as far as expansion options. Got the draft, and what is there something in particular he was looking for? Or?
The one thing I've seen a couple times, I'm guessing, and Blues fan, please correct me if I'm wrong, might be when you're drafting by team, looking at who is available per team a little easier. Or there was a couple notes in historical about maybe some of the being able to pick more than one person from a team on a draft where that shouldn't happen.
Okay, I'll check that out. But yeah, no changes in that yet. But yeah, something for the list at least.
Yeah. Lie8341 says, is create a play on the list by chance? I'm on the master list, I guess.
Creating your own plays. No, not at the moment. Although I think the play system or tactical systems in 2D. I've got to think about that. If we're at a point with that yet where it could be practical to create your own. It won't be, this version or next, or probably if we do something like that, it'll probably be a 2 to 3 years down the road. But it's something to consider, and it would be something nice addition to 2D.
Scheduling. Blues fan says yes, and also scheduling for expansion teams too. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Blues fan.
Just the auto scheduler. I think we made a couple of small improvements, but I think it's basically as it was in previous years.
Smelly Wrestling Geek, you can set your expansion draft however you want with all the custom settings. If you want to make it look like Vegas.
Yeah, that's okay. We added that last year. Actually, when you start in a season where there was an expansion draft, you should get the actual the option of redoing the expansion draft. If say you start in 1967, you can start with the actual 67 expansion draft with the players who were really available.
Yeah.
Was that last year or the year before? I can't remember.
No, it was last year. Z Bartel says, what about 2D game engine? Anything else you want to talk about in terms of improvements?
One of the things we've worked on this year was we found a problem with the changes we made in the last couple of years with getting it to execute your tactics a little more obviously. It was bailing out on that way too soon in a lot of cases. So we added a couple of things in there that encourage teams to basically stay in the formation of the tactic longer and give it a chance to play out properly. So that should be a little more visible this year. And the other thing we've been working on is, I think I mentioned this last week, changing the passing system a bit. So it won't always be a direct tape-to-tape pass that you're seeing in the 2D engine. You'll start seeing area passes where a guy flips a puck in front of a potential puck carrier and lets him skate onto it. I'm not sure how much that's implemented yet. We've been working on it. I don't think may not be 100% in at this point. So I think it's partially there and still probably more work coming on it.
Yeah, we are constantly working on the 2D engine.
That reminds me of another thing that I should mention just about, not directly 2D related, the game rating system for players. It was counting defensive defensemen. Well, defensemen in particular, but defensive defensemen in particular, underrating their game ratings a little bit. So we went back and there was actually a system that was supposed to have been implemented a couple of years ago even farther back than that actually, that shifted the game ratings more depending on what the player's specified tactical role was. It wasn't really doing that, so we fixed that, and now it's the defense. The first track at it, first shot at doing that actually went a little overboard, and it was the top of the league in game ratings at the end of the year was all defensemen. So went back and fixed that, but it's shouldn't be undercounting the defensemen anymore.
Uh, Joe Kakos brings up a point. One of the things people like to see from you, Jeff, in particular, is your post that details basically all the things that have changed from the previous version.
Yep. Yeah, I
When
know
are
that.
you
I
going to
knew
do
that
that?
question was coming. I'm going to try and I got to do the manual tomorrow, but I'm going to there's some corners I'm going to cut on that, so it may speed me up a little bit there. If I can, as it's I got to go back and just the way we track it, it's pulling together several months worth of documents and design stuff, and I usually go into a little more detail and just what I mean, the stuff on the Steam
Yeah,
page and the store page for FastSpringer. Just ad copy.
let's.
Basically, doesn't go into a lot of detail, but I go back and add more details about what's been done in the new designs. So if I've got to sort of do
Jeff,
some of that stuff as
let's
part
say
of the
this.
manual tomorrow. I'll try to maybe
I was going to
it
say,
may
let
be in there for I may have a post on that for release, but I can't guarantee it. But I'll try to do it by say no later than the end of the weekend.
I was going to say, hopefully by our next stream, official stream on
Yeah, should have that in there. But
Wednesday.
just the
Yeah.
the yeah, no, the big list of
Jeff does
changes.
need to sleep at some point,
I
I
had
think,
a
right?
I had a big 2 hours of sleep this afternoon.
Oh, it's not bad.
Yeah,
But yeah, he typically needs a little bit. I mean, it's a three-man team making the game for the most part. So they are busy, especially at right around release and making sure everything goes off as best as they can. And
yeah. It's
we
it's it's
are
hilarious looking
human.
at my email screen right now, just seeing the timestamps. I was looking at that before we came on, and it's like this constant stream of emails back and forth between me and Sebastian Malta every couple of hours for like a 24-hour period. So you can see none of us are really getting a whole lot of sleep right now. So
I mean, I'll
Friday
just.
can't come too soon.
I had somebody go, why do we stream what we do? And part of it is life things for how it works for where I am and things going on in my life. And Jeff is on the west coast, and I mean he's working with people who are in Europe, so
Yeah,
time zones are a thing, and that's also why when we talk about when is the game launching, we're trying to say it's in multiple time zones because it is, and it affects those things. So it's an important thing to realize for us too. And we're happy and excited that some people here too are, understanding and happy and excited to get the game in their hands.
Smelly Wrestling Geek asking, what are you guys' teams this year to rebuild for the NHL? I guess. If you, are you I don't know if you're talking in what games will be streaming. We haven't really decided that yet, but just in general, I guess the big challenges this year for the NHL are San Jose for sure, and sadly Columbus trying to do what they can with their situation. Oh,
Yeah,
they're off to a decent start this year, 3-3 to start in real life.
yeah, Utah with their defensive issues right now might be pretty interesting if you put on what their problems are. Just lost two of their defensemen for 4 months at minimum. So that's going to be tough for them. And I don't know. Buffalo is always an intriguing option too because you just kind of want to see them get over the hump. Ottawa wouldn't
Or
be bad.
Chicago building around Bedard.
No.
No,
I, no, yeah, yeah, yeah.
might not be a bad
I
stream
mean,
candidate.
we've been streaming
Because we
this
did we
for
did the
what?
Sharks a couple of years ago, so they're not an option.
Well,
And
we did a wild one too, and
yeah, playing as a Blue Jacket seems like maybe a little too much of a downer for a year-long
we did
stream
do a
game.
Blue Jacket stream not that long ago too.
Yeah, Chicago might be a decent candidate. Make Sebastian happy. He's a Hawks fan.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is be our tenth time streaming the game, or 10th unique stream, 20 unique streams.
Yeah,
So ULT Ferrato says I have a Blue Jacket save at the moment in FHM 10, and it's been a blast. Yeah. Eric the rest says, do you do Boston to get Marchie another cup? Again, that's not a bad thing, but we just kind of did that with Pittsburgh stream that we didn't quite find success in.
as a Canucks fan, no, that's not going to happen. At least I'm not doing it.
Z Bartel, we've done the
Still
Jets
bitter over the
several
finals,
times,
2010.
and who knows? I might fire up a Jets stream too on this weekend at some point
Yeah,
on
it'll.
our FHM
I
channel.
know this should say that we'll probably wait a little bit before we start the long running stream games, just so we can. So I think the plan right now, I should say, for the current database is for that to be out a little. I can't remember the first time we. Do you remember when we released the like the up to date roster instead of in? Well, you got the. You can do the opening night start, or you can do the current roster start. Do you remember when we added the current start? Was that in November? Or did we did not do that till Christmas last year?
The game released in November last year, Jeff.
Yeah, but I know,
So
but we did. We had updates before then. Did we do it? Was the
yeah, I'm trying to
Christmas
remember.
content update when the current one went in? Can't remember.
The winter holiday update was the current one, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyhow, that'll be earlier this year. It'll if that was the case. So we're going to try for the Everly for an update. Then there'll be hot fixes and patches before that for sure to fix the initial whatever issues there are initially with the game at release. But then we'll do a full update, our first full update. Probably not a content one, just a big bug fix update in mid to late November, and that will have the first version of the current database. So you'll get that a little earlier this year, and that I think may be the time for us to start our long running stream games because we'll have some. I'll be updating the NHL ratings
Well, we might
based on
have
what's
a
happening in real life
historical
till then.
game or two historical game going too
Yeah, well,
before.
yeah, historical one we can always start earlier, but
It's also not impossible that we might, for the first time, actually bring our FHM 10 save forward and do that for a
which
little bit too.
which one? The
I don't
Penguins
know.
one?
I'm not saying either one, but I said it's not out of the
Well,
possibility of
our
doing it.
grand plan to play the entire history of the Canadians didn't work out so good last year. We made it to what,
Uh,
1935?
yeah, I mean we could.
Didn't even get to
I
the
mean,
war.
hypothetically, Jeff, we could do that one for a little bit too.
Yep, good. Is there? I'm just trying to think of what we'd be missing.
Well, the
AHL,
AHL.
obviously. Yeah, yeah. No, I think I may
Well, we
want to do
could
a different historic one. I'll see.
rebuild our team too. So I don't know. We have some possibilities.
Yeah,
Anyways, we're gonna toss some ideas in the air and
you'll
think about
see
it.
next week. I guess that'll be our first post. Well, or unless you are you streaming on the weekend after the release, or are
I
we waiting till
don't
Wednesday?
know for sure yet. I don't want to confirm anything. There is a
Okay, you
chance
can. You
I
can.
might, but we'll have to see. I do have some other things that are
Yeah,
going
but
on,
for me, I'm
unfortunately,
gonna
in
have
my life.
to. It'll be probably bug fixing, and maybe actually getting some sleep this weekend, and getting that big complete change list written up if it's not ready before that.
Z Bartel, what format for download would you recommend? Uh, Again, I have a couple mods. I use Dropbox. Just zip them and put them in Dropbox so people can take them off. Several people use Google Drive.
Oh, he's asking about the mods. Yeah, I can. Sorry,
Yeah,
confused by the question. Yeah,
for hanging
yeah.
stuff. Uh, Again, Steamworks should be open fairly quickly, Jeff.
Yeah. I've got to do some. There's a couple of little fiddly steps I have to do right after we release to
Yeah,
make that work, but I think it's all more or less ready to go.
yeah, but Steamworks again takes a couple more steps to get it up there. It's a little bit
But
different.
by the time I'm done, I don't think anybody will
Yeah,
be actually in and try. There won't be anything in the Steam. What do you call it?
no, but
Steam mod site for it to put in there. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, no, I just meant for I know from some of our mod people are people go, why are your mods up on your forums and not on Steamworks? Well, Steamworks is a little more very specific things you have to do, and it's not always the easiest thing for everyone to do. Versus clicking a link for Google Drive is pretty easy and
and just
doing it
dropping it
yourself.
into the game.
Yeah,
We were actually talking about setting up a specific mod directory to make things a little easier for for the game rather than having to potentially overwrite stuff and then getting it overwritten by updates. Just put it into a mod folder and forget about it basically. But that didn't make it in, unfortunately. So maybe next year.
yet, yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just quick, few more questions here. Adam, Jeff, general question: are the ability potential stars based on that league? For example,
Yeah,
those
this
stars
is
in Manitoba right now based on the AHL? Yes.
yeah, that's AHL specific.
Now,
If I
if
if
you
I
are
flip,
hired
because
in
I'm
that league,
yeah yeah because I'm actually running the Moose in this one. If I switch to the NHL and look at say the Ducks, you can see there's an unreasonable number of 5-star players there. That is 5 stars by AHL standards, not by NHL standards, just because I'm running a team in the AHL now.
that's why when you are an NHL team and you look at, or sorry, if you're playing in the WHL and you look at an NHL team, you'd be like, man, everybody's 5 stars. Well, not
Yeah,
quite.
5 stars by WHL standards.
Yeah. And so yeah, just that way, and again, we've talked about it before, it's done that way for the fact that you don't have like a bunch of lower level leagues, everyone looking with half stars and trying to distinguish that, and
Yeah.
it just
So even
visually is easier for people to
from
digest.
from the perspective of the Moose, even 37-year-old old man Trevor Linden is a 3-star player.
I mean, the Moose at this time, did they have Mike? They were getting close to having Mike
Yeah,
Keane.
this when Keane was on the roster at the start of the season, I don't think he's there anymore. I'm not sure what happened to him, but if you start in 2007, you will have Mike Keane on the Moose roster.
Yeah.
He was those couple of years at the end of his career where he was sort of the veteran presence they kept around.
Yeah, he only got he only got let go. I think was because the Jets or the True North was that close to bringing back the Jets, so they wouldn't know what to do with him. And so they actually like he wanted to keep playing, and the Moose were like, "No, we can't have you." And everyone was always kind of confused, but I'm sure that's actually what the reason was. It was like they were really close to buying Phoenix the one year, and it
All
kind
right,
of
I
got
forgot about
cut
that.
off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was the year he got told they weren't going to resign him, and I'm like, I bet you that was what the question was or why it happened was it'd be like they didn't want to ship him to wherever they were going to have the team, and they didn't want to put him on the team when they got back. Uh, F Fantal, well, I think we'll say that is our last question.
Oh, the
Says
other
it since he says
thing,
one last question.
just a visual change that just popped up on me because we've done. I don't think we did this in previous years. I think we had a single icon with a multiple at the bottom for the championships one, and we just where it stretches out now. So the Leafs have their list of championships, which of course ends in oops, wrong order,
67.
ends in 67, and Canadians get the big giant one,
Yeah. If we
and the
started
Canucks
saving
get
FHM
nothing at all.
10, would it mean different? Would it be different to move to FHM 11 besides the roster? Like, I mean, it won't break the save. It shouldn't break the save, but you won't have necessarily all the new bells and whistles.
Yeah, you don't. Obviously, you won't have the Utah team. Like I was saying that
Yeah.
earlier. I'm trying to think of anything that would. This year, I don't think will be a bad one for changing over like that.
Yeah,
You're not
but
going to be
there is,
losing a
and
ton
again,
of new features, and they should get added. Most of the new stuff I can think of in standard game will get added into a converted game.
Four Nations Cup probably wouldn't.
Yeah, Four
Or
Nations Cup won't be
Four Nations
there.
Face Off. Four Nations Face Off,
Four
sorry.
Nations Face Off, yeah.
There. Yeah, won't get there. So that would be one thing that would be missing, for instance. Off the top of my head, otherwise,
And yeah, I don't think you wouldn't
your
have
draft
the
classes,
Russians and Belarusians left out of the way you've got set up now is they don't come back till 2026, 27. So that I don't think would happen in a converted game. They'd
and
be in right
draft
away.
classes would look a little different too, depending on how far you are.
Yeah. Although that would fix itself eventually because it would be using the new
Yeah,
player generation and
yeah.
yeah.
So those are kind of major ones.
Oh, I didn't really touch on that. The player generation is something we've worked on to just to get the later drafts a little more even with what happens in the drafts that are done out of the database. So it's a nice even progression. You don't have the weird up and downs you used to get. We've done some work on that. Basically, what it wound up doing in particular was toning down the number of really high-end prospects you got later on in the game, like McDavid level guys were a little bit too common, particularly for Canada and the U.S. So I don't think you'll see the if you played many years in the future, Canada and the U.S. tended to dominate tournaments like the Olympics and the World Cup. So I don't think that'll be quite as blatant next time around. If you do that in 2011 in FHM 11, I mean.
With that, Jeff, I think this is probably a good spot for us to call it for the night.
Yeah, I think that will do. And let's, I guess, show the trailer one more time.
To you.
Just in case anybody's coming in late and hasn't seen it yet, we will show this one more time, and I'll come back right after that.
We're turning it up to 11 with Franchise Hockey Manager 11, officially licensed by the NHL. Welcome to Franchise Hockey Manager 11. New this season. Gain international fame. You can now create international tournaments to add to your custom game that will adapt to your custom leagues. Or win the NHL's new Four Nations Face-Off Tournament. Satisfy your owner. Your owner's voice is now louder than ever. Owner goals will now force you to take actions to satiate their needs and save your job. Continue to bring history to life. Minor league hockey is now playable in historical games going back as far as 1940. Keep track of your players. Watch closely as your players develop in our new tracking system. Updated for the 2024-2025 season for every NHL club as well as international, minor, college, and junior leagues. Trading AI, roster management, and player generation have all been overhauled for a more realistic experience. And so much more. Welcome to Franchise Hockey Manager 11. All on the only NHL licensed PC game. Releasing October 25th, 2024.
And that just showing the owner goals reminded me, I forgot to mention this, I actually got one in the AHL game just as we were just as I was advancing up to this state. It did the owner goal, and I think it's still in my news if I look at it. There we go. There's the announcement of an owner goal. So he wants you to acquire a better goalie, and you look on the job security screen and it gives you the specifics of that. You need to acquire a goalie that's at least 2.5 stars right now.
All right.
Actually,
With that,
actually I'm going, no, I got to put that on the bug list because it's ignoring the Canucks goalies that are on your team. It's looking just at the the Moose contracted guys. That's a problem. We'll get that fixed. But yeah, that's an example of an owner goal.
Okay. With that, thank you very much for tuning to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/Franchise Hockey Manager, as well as twitch.tv/OOTP Developments. All of our streams are archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTP Developments as well, with archives going live usually Saturdays at about 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but this one will go up as soon as it possibly can. You can also reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Franchise Hockey Manager. On Twitter, we're at Franchise Hockey. You can find a link to our official Discord in our Twitter bio. Of course, you can come on down to our official website, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button when you come talk about Franchise Hockey Manager, Out of the Park Baseball, Perfect Team Go, or anything else you wish to discuss. And as we have mentioned multiple times, Franchise Hockey Manager 11 launches at approximately 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on October 25th, 2024. You'll be able to buy it on Steam or through our website for a total cost of $44.99. Jeff, yes?
Yes, that's
But if you
minus
buy it
the
in
10% release discount.
yeah, with a discount. So, thank you very much, Jeff. Thank you for everyone who tuned in, and we will see you all again real soon.